Slightly shocked to see this. Maybe I shouldn't have been, I don't know. England's women's cricket captain, Heather Knight, has been reprimanded and issued a suspended £1,000 fine for appearing in blackface in a 2012 social media post. What is a suspended fine, by the way? Does that mean you don't get it? The Cricket Discipline Commission found the photo offensive and in breach of ECB regulations. Knight has apologised for her actions, acknowledging her mistake and expressing regret, but will continue to lead the team in the up-and-coming T20 World Cup. Let's speak to Maurice Mcleod, anti-racism activist. Maurice, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, all right. I mean, I could probably put this in McCann. You and I probably speak every few months on this very issue, because another one pops up. It's like, oh, look, someone's been caught selling dolls in a shop, or someone's been doing what this woman was doing. I am surprised. I mean, this happened in 2012, and people go, well, it was, you know, it was in 2012 we were debating this stuff. So, yes, all right, she's apologised. What's your initial response as a campaigner, as a black guy? How do you feel when you read a story such as this?
To be honest, I think it sounds as if it's been dealt with reasonably well. Something's been found in her past. She's gone, oh, yes, no, that was a mistake and I apologise. She's been fined, not too much, and she's carrying on in her role. I think this is probably how this sort of thing should be dealt with. It's not surprising, to be honest, that the ECB are showing, you know, are determined to sort of rebuild their reputation after, you know, quite a torrid couple of years for them. So this sounds, to be honest, like how things should be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, they've dealt with it. It came to light. You know, we can only speculate what she might have been thinking back in the day when this happened. The bit, I suppose, that interests me, Maurice, is this. I've heard a lot of people say, when different places have been discussing this today, that putting black makeup on your face is not an attempt to impersonate a black person. It has other historic connotations. I think Morris dancers might do it. It goes back to old beggars trying to be anonymous and not being caught by the authorities. There's all manner of different reasons. I honestly do not know what the truth is in that, but all I know is that I hear people advancing that point, that she wasn't attempting to turn up at a party going, look, I'm Aretha Franklin. She was doing something else. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, I can't get inside her head back then. Let's remember, we're talking about 2012. We're not talking about 1965 or something. So
correct.
People well knew that blackface was offensive. And you can say, oh, but someone putting something that happens to be black on their face shouldn't be offensive. The bottom line is it is, and people have explained over and over again why it feels offensive. So if someone says something offends them, just don't do it. So I don't think there's really much, you know, much defence on
no, but could it be something else? I don't know. If you were going to a fancy dress party as a coal miner, I know it's not quite the same thing, but I mean, you might put black makeup on your face. Would that be wrong?
What's wrong? It's not. I don't think it's like, we've had this before. I don't think it's a question of right or wrong. But if you choose, we're all free to do what we want, aren't we? If you choose to do that sort of thing, though, knowing that, oh, this might actually look like I'm in blackface and I might actually offend some people, and you go, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway, that's a choice. And you need to deal with whatever the repercussions are.
But I guess my point was, is it only offensive if your attempt was to try and replicate or impersonate somebody of another colour? If that wasn't your thinking and you were doing it for another reason?
I'll be honest, I think you probably should. As she said at the time, she wasn't aware of the implications, and I think that's perfectly possible, that you just didn't really think, and, you know, blackface isn't such a big part of our existence anymore, so maybe she just didn't know. Well, now she's been educated. I think that's perfectly fine. I think it is always, I will always have a wince if I see a white person, for whatever reason, with their face covered black. I think, oh, okay, it has too many historical repercussions.
So even if there were to be, I mean, this, you may have even heard this story that, you know, beggars once upon a time apparently used to black their faces. If this would have been in a country where, you know, there was only white people, they would have blacked their faces up so that they couldn't be spotted by the people they worked for to be seen begging. Now, if that were true, are you saying then that even if that's what somebody was replicating, I don't know why somebody would be replicating that, but if that was the thinking, if that's what Morris dancing is apparently slightly about, although I don't think for one second all Morris dancers black their faces up. So even if there was a genuine other reason why somebody might do this, it's best to still not do it because of the irredeemable connotations it has elsewhere.
Well, let's be honest. We live in this world, in this context, in the environment that we do. I'd be highly suspicious of someone who said, "Oh, actually, yes, I'm doing blackface, but I'm representing a beggar from the whatever century because I just think it's interesting." Like you say, why would you be doing that? Now, if there's a really strong reason, I'd like to hear it. But you can't be surprised when someone goes, "Okay, you're trying to be provocative and you're using this as an excuse."
Have you never been to the Beggars from the 15th Century Tribute Festival, Maurice?
My invite got stuck in.
Unbelievable. It is interesting, as you rightly said. This was 2012, and she was I think 21 or something at the time. I'm sure. I mean, you know, as you said, it's not 1950 or 60, 70, whatever. You know, in 2012, I had debated this thing many times, and possibly we had spoken on it as well, because there have been a couple of high-profile people, somebody from the royal family do it, or so, was that a Nazi outfit? One of the two. Anyway, it wouldn't surprise me. So I am surprised that this happened. But as you say, it's come to light, and they've said you've been fined £1,000 or suspended fine. I don't quite know what that means, but so she's been told off and, I suppose, publicly shamed. And that's good enough?
I wouldn't even say it's publicly shamed. I think she's done the right thing. We can all learn, and what she's done is said, yes, that was a mistake. Oh gosh, yeah, happy to pay the fine. I don't see why anyone would have any animosity towards her. That's not publicly shamed. That's saying I've learned, and here's me showing that I've learned. Let's move on. Good stuff.
Is there ever such a thing as impersonating other cultures?
Sure, of course there is. It happens all the time. Acting of all sorts. We've had this conversation before. Ian. Yeah. You can play whoever you want to play. You can act in whatever culture you want to act in. That's perfectly fine. But being aware of where you might be causing offence, or being aware of power dynamics that historically have meant that pretending to be one culture is offensive. It's just being human. It's just being understanding of your fellow humans and not wanting to upset them. Why would anyone want to upset someone deliberately? That's my question.
There it is. Maurice, always a pleasure. Thank you, sir. Maurice Mcleod, anti-racism activist.